Now this topic has created a lot of controversy online, and this is something where a lot of girls are accusing the guy of being the scum of the earth. But are the insults valid, or are they just exaggerating? Well, let's go over the story first. So there was a guy who was friends with a girl for about 3 years. Let's call the guy Steve and then call the girl Sam. These two would love to hang out and attend their friend's mutual party almost every weekend. And after they had their fun and the party was over, Steve would always walk Sam home, as it was around midnight when they left the party. This routine stuck for a while. That was until Steve caught feelings for Sam.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
So naturally, he decided to ask her out. Unfortunately for Steve, Sam didn't have the same feelings for him, so she rejected him. But despite the rejection, they decided to stay friends. Which, in my opinion, guys, I don't think it's really wise to go back to being friends immediately. I think anytime you guys get rejected, I think it's important to create some distance, because most of the times you guys are going to hang out, you guys are both going to be sensitive about what just happened, and it's just going to be super awkward. So I guess the best thing to do is just give yourself some distance. Anyways, back to the story. Over time, things didn't really change much. They kept going to their friend's party. The difference now was Steve decided that he didn't want to walk Sam home anymore. So he made sure to give her a heads up that she was gonna have to find someone else to walk her home, as he needed some space from her, which she was cool with it and accepted it. So they both kept going to the same friend's mutual party, and at the end of the night, they would go their own separate ways. But then, one night, Sam out of the blue asked Steve if she could walk her home, as she felt that something was off about that night, and she felt really unsafe. However, according to Steve, he felt too tired to walk her home, and told her that she'd get an Uber to get home safely, which Sam refused for some reason and ended up walking home instead, taking her chances on the lonely night road. Luckily, nothing happened to her, and according to Steve, she made it home safely that night. So pretty much after this story was posted on Reddit, this thing blew up immediately, with a lot of people calling this guy a lot of negative things, saying that he decided to show his true colors once he didn't get into her pants, and most importantly, the most dangerous thing that he showed was his true motives behind their friendship of 3 years. On the other side of the aisle though, there wasn't a minority of people saying that this guy was within his right to reject walking her home late at night, as that is boyfriend privileges. But which of these sides is actually right? Well, I think it's important to go over the details first.
Man F Steve, fake nice guy, all he wanted was segs.
Nah, he based. No money, no honey. No affection, no protection. No head, no...
Okay. I think that's enough. I personally think that this guy is a piece of crap for letting a friend walk home alone, especially when they're telling you that they sense danger. Something really important to recall is that Sam had actually been walking home alone for a couple weeks now, so for her to ask for help out of nowhere must indicate that she really needed his help this time. I find that Steve is honestly like really weird and a really petty person for not walking her home. You know, I know that he got rejected, and that's something that it's okay to feel a bit upset about, but man, this is someone's safety. I think you kind of have to look at the bigger picture here. Coffee Bean recently introduced some boba to their drinks, and I'm gonna tell you guys, it kind of sucks. Now there's one detail that I think a lot of people are overlooking in this story, and that's Steve's condition. In the story, he mentioned he was really tired, and that's one of the biggest reasons he didn't walk her home. But to be honest, I'm 80% sure he's lying on this. Or just for that 20%, I still think it's important enough to talk about it, just in case you ever find yourself in the situation, what is the correct thing to do? In a follow post, Steve mentioned the reason he didn't walk Sam home that night was because he was actually super drunk, which I know it sounds a bit like he's lying, but it is possible. It does sound pretty plausible to me if you think about it through a guy's perspective. As believe it or not, ladies, many guys do plan on how drunk they're gonna get if they're going somewhere where they're not so sure on their safety. If we know there's a possibility of there's going to be some type of danger, maybe there's going to be a fight, we can't be getting too drunk just in case stuff goes down. But what does this have to do with Steve? Well, I'm assuming that he held back on drinking because, you know, he had the responsibility of walking Sam home. So with that responsibility, maybe he just didn't drink too much just in case he had to, you know, stand up for Sam and protect her. So with that responsibility now being gone, it could be possible that he probably let loose that night and got way too drunk. Now, if this is the situation where he was actually drunk, then it was completely okay and valid for him not to want to walk her home, as he's in a very vulnerable state himself. And something to add is that this statement would only become more true because if, let's just say, there was some type of danger that was lurking around Sam, then he would be pretty much useless in the situation since he's too drunk to be any help for her. If anything, he would just serve as bait for Sam. Which, if Sam wasn't a bad person, then he would just be dead weight because the whole time she'd be more worried about him than her own safety. If the case was that Steve was too drunk to, walk her home, then honestly, she should have been completely clear about her current situation and maybe stayed with the guy in his house, until she could safely get picked up by a family or friend. I think that would have been probably the smartest thing to do. Also, I do want to address the boyfriend privilege thing. I think that is 100% true. As a boyfriend, you definitely have to be there for your girl 100% of the time, especially when it comes to safety. There is no what ifs or buts. That is pretty much the duties that comes with being a boyfriend. Now, guys, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that you can't be there for your female friends as a guy. I'm just saying that there is a difference on how you're going to treat your friends and treat your significant other. As for your friends, you have to be there as often as you can for them, right? But you can't always be there for them because that's obviously going to strain your relationship. Because if you're always there for someone, eventually you're going to grow tired of it. And the most logical thing and the most kindest thing to do is that your friend recognizes that you need a break sometimes too, and they find other ways to accommodate their safety or whatever need that they need. In the end, guys, I doubt Steve was telling the truth about his condition since, if that was such a big thing for him, it was such a hindrance and a really big factor, he would have mentioned that in his first post. And I find it really odd that he just decided to bring it up in the second post, because that's a really important detail. So moral of the story is, if you ever happen to find yourself in a situation, just walk the girl home. You'll feel a lot better about yourself. And then just warn her next time that you're not comfortable walking her home anymore for whatever reason, and she should respect that.